Today I'm making an insanely looking quilt using exactly one block. It's fast, it's vibrant, and it's basically a miracle. Forget the 1,000-piece puzzles because I am using the Quilt-as-you-go cheat code for maximum speed. Let's gather our scraps. I want every color possible. I need strips and lots of them. Since I'm running a bit low on scraps for the quilt I have in mind, I will be mixing in some yardage too. Let's get these over to the cutting mat so we can get started. There's so many awesome things about this quilt, I don't even know where to begin. Let's begin by cutting some batting and some backing fabric because we are doing it quilt-as-you-go style. I'm doing a 36-inch-ish square. I will have to trim it in the end, but let's get started with that. It means the batting is 37 inches and the backing fabric will be a bit larger than that, just to make sure there's enough wiggle room in case I end up wonking it up, which I most certainly will. And this is important. Do not forget to mark the center of your batting. After that, we just need to cut a 2-inch square, our center diamond, and we're ready to go. We just need to start adding our strips to our quilt like so. Here's how this works. We make a V on the corner of our diamond on one side, and then we do another V on the other side of our diamond until there's a frame around it. I am using 2-inch strips and I am adding 2 layers per color. I am trying to mix some light fabrics with some darker fabrics throughout the quilt, but I'm not sure I will be able to do it for all my colors. The idea here is to have each fabric stand out from the next beautifully. Now, as we progress, this may start to look like we're doing a log cabin quilt block, like a really big one, but we're not. We are making V's on both sides of our center diamond. When you do a log cabin quilt block, you build it clockwise or counterclockwise, but these are V's that we're adding on both sides. There are so many things you can do differently from me in this quilt and still get a stunning look. You can make your strips wider or narrower or just use different widths to make sure you use up all your scraps. You can do just 1 strip per color or 3 or even 4 depending on how strong you want each color to be. You can do a rainbow sequence starting from a different color since I'm starting at the center with the purple, or you can just do a color mix. Or just use 2 colors and use all sorts of values with each one. There really are no limits to what you can do with this very easy, very laid-back quilt pattern and make your very own one-of-a-kind quilt. I haven't done Quilt-as-you-go in a while, and I must say I have missed it. Quilt-as-you-go is essentially when you're quilting your quilt as you sew on your pieces. Like every time I add a strip, I'm essentially sewing it onto the batting and the backing fabric, so essentially I am quilting it in place. I love doing it when I'm using smaller pieces of fabric because it helps support the pieces and it prevents the wonkiness that may happen if I were only sewing the top. This way, however I sew it in place is how it will remain. Even though my strips are 2 inches, so not narrow at all, I'm afraid that as I add on the strips, it will end up weighing the whole thing and wonking it all up. Plus, I would have to quilt the whole thing afterwards, make a sandwich, add the stitching. That's a lot of time and effort I am saving right here by doing Quilt-as-you-go. If you're looking for a deeper dive into this pattern, I have put together a detailed version of this tutorial with extra tips and some relaxed sew-along chat. Our community on Patreon and YouTube is loving these. I'm currently releasing 2 new ones every month, plus exclusive bonus videos. Your support means the world to me. It's like having a couple of friends sitting around at the studio as I sew, keeping this craft alive and helping me share more videos. You can join the membership on either platform or just grab this specific tutorial on Patreon. Links are in the description if you want to check them out, and thank you so much for your support. As you've probably noticed, I'm very committed to tackling my scrap pile this year. The problem is, for most of my projects, I end up creating more scraps, which is totally okay with me because I love quilting with scraps. However, it kind of hinders the whole finishing up my scrap pile this year thing. It's a good thing most of my leftover fabrics are strips, because if there is one thing I love more than scrappy quilts, it's string quilts. Another big contributor to my scraps is my math, which rarely maths. Like for this quilt, in my mind, I need loads of strips since the quilt will grow, right? Well, it's a good thing I'm using scraps, because if I were to cut yardage for this, I would be left with so much leftover fabric. Because yes, the middle colors do grow, but from the moment you reach the borders of the quilt, they start shrinking again. So like for the red and the pink, I don't need big strips, I need tiny ones. So yeah, that's where my math stops mathing. And because I'm making a complete quilt this time, we will be doing some binding. And this is a surprisingly controversial subject, so I have got to ask, as far as binding goes, are you team hand binding or team machine binding? I have to say I have done more hand binding than machine binding in my life, but I cannot remember the last time I have hand sewn binding. So machine is the way for me right now, but hand binding is just so special. I'm just not sure if it's worth the hassle. What do you think? No blocks to show, just a perfect, fun, easygoing quilt top done in no time. Time to trim our lovely quilt top. The question here is, how do you know where to trim? We don't want to trim too much and waste all the work we've done so far, but we also want to make sure we get a perfectly covered little top by the time we're done. It does not help that the longest ruler I own is 24.5 inches, much smaller than the quilt top, but we still managed to make it work. And because there is no puzzle today, all there's left for us to do now is our binding. We could have done some self-binding, meaning we would cut the backing fabric 3 or 4 inches longer than we needed it to be, and then we would just fold that fabric over the quilt top and sew. And while I do love to do it, and it's much quicker this way, to me it doesn't give off that finished, elegant look that adding binding does. So that's what we're doing today. Nothing to it, and if you just take the time to do a few extra steps before you start sewing, it will save a lot of time and trouble when it's time to sew it onto your quilt. Like pressing my strip twice. Once to find the center, because I love my binding to be as thick as it possibly can, and the second is to find the center of my binding strip, because that will make it easier to fold my binding strip over my quilt without having to measure the correct width all the time. I mean, yes, you can use a ruler every time to make sure you find the perfect measurements, and Mike does like that, but I don't. I don't think it's worth it, to be honest. Ready to sew. We start at the back. Make sure the raw edge of your binding is leaning against the edge of your quilt top and sew away. As we come to the corners, I don't sew all the way to the edge. I stay about half an inch away and just fold the strip before continuing to sew. I have seen some people do it without lifting the needle, but I have tried it and I have failed. Plus, it has taken me so long to get my corners perfect, I just don't want to jinx it. Let's just say consistency is not my middle name, and I never really do know what I'll get, so yeah, I best not press my luck. Let's flip our quilt and start sewing the real deal, the pretty top. I'm trying to sew as close to the ditch as I possibly can, and if I wasn't doing this as a tutorial, I would use white thread to do it, because that would make it so much easier to hide the wonky stitches. But today I am owning it. All we've done so far is preparing for this moment when we want our binding to fall effortlessly and prettily on our quilt top. We want to hide the stitches we sewn onto the back of the quilt, and we want the white to be tamer for all the big colors we have used for our quilt. And I think we have done just that. Let me show you what we made today. And here we have it. Our herringbone quilt is done and looking so pretty. I am in love. If you'd like to join me for a cozy step-by-step look at this design with all my extra tips, the in-depth tutorial is waiting for you via the link in the description. Happy quilting, and I will see you soon. Bye bye!